Scene opens with dramatic music, slowly fading into silence. The background is a dimly lit courtroom, the tension palpable. Narrator, asterisk, what happens when the echoes of the past force their way into the present? When a long-buried secret thrusts itself into the open, shattering the fragile peace of adulthood. Today, we delve into a chilling revelation, one that can unravel lives, relationships, and even the very fabric of society itself. Narrator, asterisk, imagine. You're a mere 14 years old navigating the tumultuous waters of adolescence. You should be worried about homework, friendships, and your first crush. But instead, you endure an unimaginable betrayal, a violation so profound it feels like a fracture in your very identity. Narrator, asterisk, at the center of this tale is a powerful confrontation. On one side, Jason, haunted by memories and grief-stricken rage. On the other, his longtime aggressor, a man whose actions left their imprint not only on Jason, but on countless lives intertwined within their shared history. Narrator, asterisk, the moment Jason took the stand, a silence fell over the room. There was a tension akin to the calm before a storm, a haunting stillness, poised on the brink of chaos. And then, in an eruption of vulnerability, he began to unveil the painful truth. Narrator, asterisk, his trembling voice shook the foundations of false security. He spoke of manipulation, fear, and betrayal. At 14, Jason had been a victim of coercion, trapped in a web spun by a man he should have been able to trust. Narrator, asterisk, one cannot help but ponder. How many lives remain shackled due to the cruelty of others? How many souls wander aimlessly, haunted by experiences that linger like shadows? Jason's catharsis ignited something in that courtroom. Narrator, asterisk, and just when we thought we understood the depth of his pain, Jason's heart-wrenching conclusion brought the courtroom to its knees. He implored the jury and us to see beyond the rancid acts and their aftermath, to understand that the real crime lies in the silence that follows. The screen darkens momentarily, leaving the audience in contemplation. Scene fades in with tense orchestral music, the camera panning across a packed courtroom filled with somber faces. Narrator, asterisk, what if the most haunting secret of your childhood refused to stay buried? What if, in a moment of unrestrained fury, you transformed from a silent victim into the embodiment of truth, unleashing a shockwave through the very hall that once echoed your silence? Narrator, asterisk, meet Jason. At 14, he was just a boy attempting to navigate the stormy seas of adolescence. Yet, lurking in the shadows was a predator, someone he should have been able to trust. As the courtroom buzzed with anticipation, Jason locked eyes with his accuser, a man who represented everything he had tried to forget. Narrator, asterisk, what happens when trust is betrayed and innocence is stolen? Jason would soon unveil the unspeakable act inflicted upon him years ago. In a system that often favors the powerful, he stepped onto that stand not just to speak his truth, but to reclaim his agency, his very existence. Narrator, asterisk, as his voice quivered yet remained resolute, he painted a scene of manipulation and horror. Jason described a chilling sequence of events, taking the jury through the labyrinth of his mind where memories festered. He spoke of how the trauma had woven itself into the very fabric of his being, shaping his relationships and overshadowing his future. Narrator, asterisk, but what truly sets this testimony apart is what followed, an explosion of raw emotion that reverberated through the courtroom. He shouted, unleashing a feral cry born from years of silence. Narrator, asterisk, so often, we dismiss stories like Jason's, burying our heads in the sand, too uncomfortable to look at the truth. But Jason was about to shatter that illusion, forcing us to reckon with the idea that pain can linger far beyond the act. It manipulates reality, colors perception, and can even dictate destiny. Narrator, asterisk, he revealed something profound. Through his journey of anger and pain, he had discovered the duality of victimhood and empowerment. No longer merely a victim, he was ready to step into the light, defying both his past and the man who sought to control it. Narrator, asterisk, Jason was not just confronting his abuser, he was igniting hope for countless others trapped by their own darkness. Scene opens with a tight shot of a courtroom gavel pounding against the wood, the sound echoing ominously. Narrator, asterisk, what if the darkest secret of your past surged to the surface in a courtroom, unleashing a storm of chaos and exposing the cruel reality that shaped your life? This is the gripping story of one man who decided enough was enough, standing tall in the face of haunting memories. He unleashed a fury that reverberated through the very walls of justice. Narrator, asterisk, meet Jason. At 14, he was not just a boy, he was thrust into a treacherous world where trust shattered and innocence was mercilessly stolen. On that fateful day, what should have been the onset of adolescence became a playground for manipulation and betrayal. Narrator, asterisk, what happens when a victim decides to take a stand? In this courtroom, Jason transformed from a passive sufferer into a fierce advocate for his own story. As he opened his mouth to speak, the atmosphere shifted, thickening with anticipation. It was more than a moment. It was a reckoning, a clash between courage and cruelty. Narrator, asterisk, with each tremulous word, he painted a vivid tapestry of his torment. He spoke not just of what was done to him, but how those deep scars festooned his life, the relentless anxiety that clawed at him, the crushing weight of shame that morphed his identity. Narrator, asterisk, as he delved deeper into his past, Jason unleashed an emotional torrent, narrating the chilling details that haunted his dreams. Cries of pain morphed into an empowering roar of truth. Jason demanded, challenging the very fabric of societal silence around abuse. Narrator, asterisk, this wasn't just a trial, it was a crucible. The man sitting across from him represented the embodiment of darkness that had lingered in the shadows of Jason's life for far too long. Narrator, asterisk, but what happens when anger transforms into clarity? Jason was rising from the ashes of despair, channeling his rage into a mission of truth. As he drew breath and reclaimed his narrative, there was an undeniable shift in the atmosphere, a powerful energy that raised not just his voice, but the collective spirit of anyone who has ever felt powerless. Narrator, asterisk, today, Jason was not just fighting for himself. He was igniting a movement, a clarion call for those still trapped in silence. With every powerful statement, he was breaking generational cycles of abuse, urging us all to confront the uncomfortable truths that remain cloaked in shadows.